The World Poker Tour is upon us, and the World Poker Tour ladies event has concluded with a new champion. And that champion's name is Dave Hughes. Hey, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like a lady's name. It's because it's a man. That's right. A man won the Ladies World Poker Tour event at Seminole Hard Rock. Bravo, good sir. I love this one because I was actually playing poker this weekend, and I've been playing quite a bit. And then I see this tweet go out that a man entered the women's event, and he did it explicitly to say, you can identify as anything you want. And so he actually ended up winning $5,500. And here he is. It's an old bald guy with a big white beard. And he won. Apparently he was overheard saying by another pro, you can identify whatever you want, so I can identify as a woman and enter this contest and win. And everybody got mad. Now hold on there a minute. How could you get mad at this man, but not mad at any other man that enters a women's sporting event? It's absurd because this guy doesn't share their psychotic ideology. And there it is. Because he did it to mock them, he's a bad guy. But if he did the exact same thing and just said, I am a woman, everybody would say it's okay. But by pointing out the hypocrisy and the absurdity, well, now you got yourselves a little problem, don't you? Let me read you this story. And then I got some news for all of you. From PokerNews.com, man wins ladies event at the World Poker Tour Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. On Saturday night, day 1B of the World Poker Tour, $3,500 Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown was taking place in the main ballroom at the Seminole Hard Rock in South Florida. Across the hall, event number 48, $250 ladies no limit hold'em was also playing out. That tournament attracted 83 entries and offered up a $17,430 prize pool. Unfortunately, one of the competitors was a man, Dave Hughes, who wound up winning it for $5,555. Per state law, management is unable to bar a man from entering a ladies event in Florida. Bravo. That's your non-discrimination stuff. Ebony Kenny documented the whole ordeal on Twitter, saying, playing at the World Poker Tour ladies event, and Dave here is the only man. While we appreciate the dead money, I really wish men would get what these events stand for. So I put a $300 bounty on him, and Tamra and Noah Peterit matched it. Let's get him. All right, let me break something down for you. Dead money. Oh boy, they're insulting this guy. Dead money means money that is put into the pot that you don't get back. You're out of the game. So I'm not a poker pro or anything like that. I've just been playing for a few months. So forgive me, all those poker enthusiasts, if I get some of this wrong. Try to explain to the best of my ability, and anybody can correct me in the comments and would be greatly appreciated. Dead money is typically like you have people sitting around a table. Someone gets a pair of cards and they say, you know what? I like these cards. They're okay. They're not the best. I'm going to bet $10. Then the next guy to his left says, I got the best cards in the world. I'm going to bet $100. That guy who bet $10 folds, is no longer in the game, and that money goes in the pot dead. He doesn't get it back. He can't win it. And now that money is available to the other players to win. What they're basically saying is that Dave put his money into the tournament and would lose. But he won. Okay. Others graciously contributed to the bounty, including Jeff Platt, Michael Burke, Jake Farrow, and Frank Stipuchin, and even Hughes himself. The spirit of this has been fun since we're here now, Kenny said of the bounty. According to Kenny, Hughes began the heads-up match with a 6-1 chip lead and asked for the $100 back he contributed for his bounty. He's now down 3-1 in chips and has talked completely disrespectfully to the dealer. Nice guy facade has crumbled. So let me break that down. Heads up means one-on-one. So he gets down to the end of the tournament with him versus some other woman. A 6-1 chip lead. It's pretty obvious. That's how much, any points he had to wager. The victory did not sit well with many in attendance, and understandably, there was some harsh criticisms on social media. Let me show you this. The Daily Wire picked up the story, and they included a tweet from Ebony. Actually, I think I have the tweet. Ebony said, so here's the video of the guy. Let me play the video for you. Let me see if I can get some sound here.
Oh, yes. All right. We have Dave here, and I don't know if you can tell here, He's the only guy in this ladies' event. So I put a $300 bounty on his head. And then Tamra and her husband matched it. So there's a $600 bounty on his head. He's already busted twice. So we love him for that. Thank you, Dave.
He ended up winning.
Good luck. Not really.
And everybody was kind of mad that he did it. She tweets this, let's put a bounty on him. Someone says, maybe Dave identifies as a female. Have you thought of that? Ebony responds, maybe Dave was overheard saying he could pretend to identify as a woman because they allow anything nowadays. And by maybe, I mean 100%. Someone responded, it seems as if all the ones who are screaming for trans athletes to be banned are also the ones saying you can't ban me. And here we are. This is what goes down. Dave Hughes winning $5,555. Wow. A $250 buy-in, is that what it was? And he cashed out something fierce. Around 20 times his buy-in. Bravo, sir. Wider Poker community reacts with Linda Johnson saying, I love ladies-only poker tournaments. I would have no problem with them having a men's only, and I wouldn't enter it as I would not qualify for it. Now, I'm going to break some stuff down about poker for you. I'm explaining to you why this matters. Why do they have a ladies event? I believe there's like one top female player, like one. There's a handful of, well-known female players. And I think in terms of like the top tier, it's a nebulous descriptor. I mean, I could say like top 50 or something, but I don't know for sure. Vanessa Selbst, I believe is her name. Again, I've only been playing poker for a couple of months. To be fair, I've been playing poker basically all my life, but only consistently in the past few months have I actually decided to learn how and actually go out and hang out with people and play some of these games. Mostly just for fun, low stakes, nothing crazy. I'm actually doing fairly well. I'm up. My bankroll is up. I think I'm decently good enough. I don't know. I win. But it's a skill game, not a game of chance. And what people need to understand is that a guy competing against women, I'm not surprised to see the guy won. My understanding is that you look at a sport like skateboarding, and I can tell you exactly why. I can scientifically break down for you why it is that men skate at a higher level than women. Now, I'll do it for you. Higher center of gravity is a major advantage in skateboarding, as well as fast twitch muscle and muscle mass. And that gives men a major advantage. Now, I've heard women try to make the argument that a lower center of gravity in skateboarding is advantageous for balance reasons, but they are wrong because men can crouch, lowering their center of gravity and improving their balance. So men having a higher center of gravity when they jump can suck their legs up and clear higher gaps and distances, thus jumping higher effectively than women who have to push their center of gravity higher and don't have as much leeway. Then there's fast twitch muscle, which is an obvious thing. You can jump higher. But my point is this. Skateboarding, it's obvious, right? Physical activity. People don't understand about why in poker would a man do better than a woman. Couldn't a woman just, it's a game of chance, isn't it? Well, it's not a game of chance. It's a game of strategy, math, and aggression. And I'm sure there's people who are better than me. You ask the pros, they'll define it better. But what my understanding is that men are more aggressive than women. In general, we know that. So that translates into poker. Let me tell you, just for my limited rookie experience playing the game. Again, I'll say it again. It's a game of skill. It's a game of ability and knowledge and reading people. Obviously, everybody knows about tells and all that stuff. And if you're a guy and let's say you're dealt two cards. You're playing Texas Hold'em, which is what everybody sees when they watch poker. It's the Cadillac of poker, they call it. You get two cards. You get, let's call it, let's say 9-10 suited, okay? Meaning you have a 9 of spades and a 10 of spades. Most of you probably know cards. Some of you probably are really good at poker. It's decent. It's called a suited connector. Is it going to net you the top pair, the strongest hand? It's tough. It could draw into, meaning the cards that come on the board could make the hand stronger. Now, let's say this. You get that hand and it's like, it's a good suited connector, gives you some opportunities there, and you want to bet on it. So the guy says, you know what? I'm going to bet $50. At the other side of the table is a woman, and she gets dealt king-queen suited. Much better than 9-10, right? You can make some top pairs. You can get a Broadway draw, even a royal flush maybe. You got some good opportunities there. The woman calls the bet, meaning that when the guy says, I'm going to bet $50 on this medium to strong hand, she says, with this really strong hand, I'm just going to see it. Typically, a man would be more aggressive and say, I'm going to bet more. Trying to simplify it, men being more aggressive means they're more likely to take a risk in calling bets and raising bets, and women are more likely to just flat call a bet, meaning in the long run, they will win less money. You can argue that they might lose less, but if you're not playing to win and you're not playing your hands tight and aggressive, you're probably going to get beat, especially in tournaments like this. Hence, a headstrong man who's aggressive and pushing and throwing money is going to exude that force on a poker table. You got to be aggressive. And so, I can't speak for everybody, but I'll tell you, when I'm playing, the worst times to play are when you're being passive. You get a hand and you're like, it's pretty strong. I'll just call. Well, the other player is going to start throwing more money at you. They're going to exude confidence. And you're going to be thinking about it like, this guy's so confident, he's probably got it. He's probably got the best. He got a royal flush. And then it turns out he had nothing. He just was more confident than you, and you were scared. So that's what happens when it comes to these poker games, why it matters that they do a ladies' event, because women play the game differently. But therein lies the issue with all sports. We do not have women's sporting events because sometimes people wear dresses. We do it because males and females are different, even in poker, even in chess. Strategy and play styles are very different. And well, there you have it. Now let's talk about poker, because I'm going to give you guys an update on what we're working on with the social club, and where I normally will do these segments. Maybe they'll be shorter, maybe longer. I'm going to go long because I got a lot to talk about, and this may, I don't know, maybe you care, maybe you don't. We're building a social club and a coffee shop. Okay, because I want to build culture. We got Freedomistan show launching soon with an explosive professional skateboarder video part. I hope. I think that's where we're at. And bringing on a big name pro to launch this new facility where we're going to do awesome skateboarding, biking, scooting, blading, all that good stuff. Big airbags, bungee jumping, just fun shenanigans. Throwing frisbees into basketball nets and other crazy shenanigans. That's in the works. We're about to acquire a pro skateboard part, I'm hoping, and launch that show very soon as the new West Virginia facility is just about ready to go. I'm very excited. And in that regard, we are doing another cultural endeavor, which is our coffee shop, Cast Brew Cafe, which is, you can go to castbrew.com and purchase our first coffee blends, Rise with Roberto Jr., now available. We got a couple new ones coming out soon. The second and third floor are going to be our social clubs. This will be a private, independent business where you pay a membership fee to hang out. The second floor is probably going to be decently cheap. The third floor is going to be like elite tier. If you're a Timcast member, there is a partnership we will have with the private club, which basically means you get access to the club if you're a Timcast.com member or a member of the club itself. Although club members will probably have slightly different perks and things. We're just saying like we're going to add a value, or like the Timcast.com elite members at $100 or more have like unfettered access to basically everything. They're like beta testing our app and stuff like that. But we're doing this club and we want to have poker. We want to do poker because we want to launch a show called Poker with the Boys. Let me explain why this matters. Somebody asked Congressman Troy Nales on our show if he would play video games on Twitch like Among Us. AOC did it. It was widely popular. And I got to tell you, that sounds cringe. I mean, having a Texas sheriff Republican play Among Us on Twitch? Now, what if we had a Texas sheriff turned congressman smoking a cigar playing a game of Texas Hold'em with the boys? That would be humanizing, culture building, fun and funny. And we'd bring in whoever else played, maybe Matt Gaetz, Ted Cruz. I hear these guys are big poker enthusiasts. Poker's really popular. Bring in Carrie Lake and anybody interested in playing a game, having fun. And poker is just the backdrop. It's the game we play as we hang out and humanize and build culture. Unfortunately, in West Virginia, it's illegal. And this is where we're at right now. Let me just say right now, I've talked to people, I've been lobbying, as it were, telling people poker is not gambling, literally not gambling. And a lot of people just don't get it and don't believe it. I think it's because games like, so first, let me define this. 3-card poker, 4-card poker, heads up hold'em, at casino table games, those are gambling. You know why? Because you wager your money, you get dealt cards, and then you cross your fingers and hope you win. Game of chance. There's limited to no skill involved. I mean, a little bit. Like if you're playing blackjack, it's like 90% luck. You know when to hit and when not to hit if you know basic strategy, but that's basic. The dealer will tell you basic strategy. You could sit down at a blackjack table, put down your $15. He gives you the cards. You say, what should I do? And he'll say, book says do this. And you go, okay. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. You go to the craps table, you put down $25. You roll the die. Did you win? Oh, good luck. That's a game of chance. Poker, not so much. If you sit down, play Texas Hold'em, and you've never played before, you will lose all of your money instantly with no chance of winning, period. Now, maybe you have like a 1% chance of winning. Like you can sit down at a Hold'em table, get thrown pocket aces, be confused, shove all your money in, say, I'll bet all of it. I'm all in, whatever. And then turns out you get a full house. You get a good hand. And by luck, you ended up winning. But that's minimal. And things like that can exist in any game. Games like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering. So here's where we're at. I think the bans on poker in West Virginia are completely unconstitutional as the state is outright refusing to enforce the law as it pertains to any trading card game. Now, you're going to have people say, Tim, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Those are skill games. You build the deck. You shuffle it up. You get the cards. You got to play them right. Sure. What's the difference between that and Texas Hold'em? In Texas Hold'em, you're given 2 cards. You assess the strength and value. You determine the person you're playing against. You're trying to figure out if they're lying to you, if they actually got it. It is very strategic. And then you say, you know what? I am not going to wager any money at all. I fold my hand. Meaning, get this. If you go to a game shop for Friday Night Magic the Gathering, of course, is a card game. They say it's $20 to enter the game. You wager that $20. You then hope that your card draw is strong enough and your play is strong enough that you will win the tournament. And what do you get? Something of value, store credit, product, or otherwise. According to West Virginia law, that is outright illegal gambling. Now let's talk about poker. You know, people are going to say, dude, but obviously it's not so much the random chance of the cards. I mean, it is random, right? The cards are shuffled. You don't know what you're going to get. But you build the deck so that you account for the variance. That's the same thing as poker. Let me tell you this. I can sit down at a poker table, and this is something people probably don't understand. Go to MGM National Harbor, go to Maryland Live, pick a casino, go to the Borgata, go to the MGM, go to their poker room, get some money, sit down at one of their Hold'em tables. Let's play, say it's 1-2, no limit Hold'em. All right? And they're going to say, do you want to buy the button or wait for the button to pass? Yeah, wait for the button to pass. That means you're going to wait for your proper turn, or you can make a bet. You can pay so that you can just jump in the game. But let's say this. You say, I don't want to pay any money. Okay. You wait. Then the button passes you. It's the dealer button. It's how the turns are calculated. The dealer will then give you 2 cards for free. I don't got to spend any money. I can look at them and then say, I fold. Spending $0. I wagered nothing to start that game. You can do that 6 times until the blinds, the blind bets come to you. And then you can say, I get up and I'm leaving. Thank you for your time. Without spending a single penny, you can play 6 hands of Texas Hold'em. I believe 6 is the right number. No, maybe 5 because the button passes you. 5 hands for free. And you can wait until you get the best possible hand, choosing your odds to play strategically, and then put up the chips to play the game. Big difference between how these card shops are running Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Magic the Gathering events. Now, of course, you could argue you could play a poker tournament, but it's all illegal gambling. So my point is just this. In terms of the personal stuff that we're working on, poker, squarely a game of skill. In fact, I do not even accept the argument from some pros in poker that luck is involved. Sorry, I just don't account for that. That's like saying that American Ninja Warrior has luck involved because sometimes they might put an obstacle there you've not trained for and you're unlucky in that it came up and someone else was better able to utilize it. Oh, come on. Variance exists in all sports. Is football luck because sometimes it rains or snows? No, get out of here. You account for all of that. When you're playing Hold'em or Pot Limit Omaha, whatever game you're playing, in terms of player versus player, round table poker games, The fact that there is a probability that you lose is part of the game, just like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, or otherwise. So my question is, how is it culturally that West Virginia, that any other state, is allowing card games where you draw at random and then apply your skill and knowledge to the variance of the cards to try and win? That's not gambling, even though you got to pay money up front. But Texas Hold'em, PLO, another game, Pot Limit Omaha, a similar game. These games are illegal gambling controlled by casinos and the Lottery Commission. I would make this argument, and I actually have, that either Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering should be enforced as illegal gambling, or Texas Hold'em style games specifically should be exempt from the gambling criteria of the state. I've made my argument, and one of two things is going to happen. And so let me make this announcement. Many of you may not care, so whatever. If you do, hear me out. If you care about what we're working on in terms of culture, we got the skateboarding stuff going on. Skateboarding, BMXing, blading, scooting, all of that fun shenanigans. We don't got anything to worry about. The facility is built. We are building culture. It's happening. We're getting started. This will be a big year for us. Social club, we want social club events. We want cringe, maybe it's cringe, like a man cave style, like people hang out, have an old fashioned, smoke a cigar, watch the game, play some poker with the boys. We make a show about it. We build that culture. We got to win on a legal front if we're going to make this happen. And I'm going to make this happen. So one of two things is about to happen. In fact, both may happen. I'm already talking with the state government about legislation specifically outlining that games like Texas Hold'em are skill games and not regulated under the gaming laws. In that, Hold'em, what might happen is the legislation might be 10 games specific. There's games like Texas Hold'em, Crazy Pineapple, Raz, High-Low, Pot Limit Omaha. All of these games are considered games of skill and not games of chance. However, games like 3-card poker against the house, we would define and carve out these games. There's big interest in West Virginia in allowing us to do this because they understand we're going to start building culture. A show will bring people to the state, and we want to create a culture. And obviously, you watch poker on ESPN, you watch the European Poker Tour. One way to easily define to understand why poker is a skill game is that you can say who the best players in the world are, as opposed to like craps. You can't, right? So here's my announcement. We are pursuing a lawsuit against West Virginia. This is very preliminary. West Virginia is well aware that we are, and they're not angry about it. It's just the way things work. They say, look, this is the law. We follow it strictly. And I said, I believe it is unconstitutional. It's a violation under the 14th Amendment. Maybe, I'll talk to my lawyer about it, that the state allows trading card games where children will put up $20 to enter a tournament, play a game where you draw cards, hope you get good cards, and then win store credit. Now, I know that's an oversimplification, but I'm using the same interpretation they would use for, say, Hold'em that I will use for Pokemon or otherwise. Some would argue, yeah, but when you play Pokemon, you don't put money up per turn. You want to talk about cash game versus tournament games? Fine, but poker tournaments are also illegal. A tournament is where you pay $100 to enter, you get an arbitrary amount of chips, and you wager chips in the game, and whoever has the most chips in the end wins, or if all the other players are eliminated. That is also illegal. And it's regulated under the Lottery Commission. Why are they allowing across the state hundreds of locations to operate these games, but poker is specifically isolated? I think it's because there's an archaic interpretation of what Texas Hold'em is. It's a skill game. Maybe it's not the same as, say, Magic the Gathering, but it's very, very, very similar. Now, of course, poker involves putting chips up every betting phase, and games are much shorter. A hand is more of a game that gets shuffled and put away, whereas with Magic, a game can last 40 minutes to an hour. My argument is, if you have to pay $10 to even play the first game in Magic, Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh!, but in Texas Hold'em, you can sit down and be given cards for free, I'd argue one's more gambling than the other. But either way, I want them to define exactly how it is that they can regulate one and not the other. I have here pulled up the laws. I've been looking at the West Virginia laws, and I can tell you right now, literally, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Magic the Gathering are illegal gaming and gambling. It is a card game. That's what the law says. Card game with chance that someone would pay money, wager money, in an effort to win something of value in any capacity. Well, that's what it is. And I'll give you an example. Magic the Gathering is a trading card game. Many of you maybe have heard of. I play what's called a booster draft. You pay, what is it? I think I paid like $50 or something like that because it was a big tournament. And then you get, I can't remember what it was. I think it was 40 or $50. I could be wrong. Maybe it was more than that. It might have been 100. I don't know. I don't remember. You are given sealed packs of random cards. You open them up and then, no. Actually, let's do this. It's called a sealed tournament. You are given sealed cards. You open up, you build a deck with whatever you get. I am the guy who won the tournament just so happened to be very lucky, and he got epic rares in his sealed packs. Nobody else did. I mean, one or two people did. But then it's like, that was random. That's gambling. Is it fair that he got ridiculously powerful rare cards in his packs? Well, is it fair that your opponent gets pocket aces, the strongest hand in poker, and you get a crappy hand? In poker, even if your opponent has better cards, you can still win if you play correctly. In Magic the Gathering, that's somewhat true, but man, if somebody's got a Planeswalker Epic Rare or something, you're playing against them, they can crush you. But hey, same is true for aces. Even if they play poorly, they have a stronger chance of winning. I don't see the difference. I'm not going to ramble too much on this, but my point is just this. We're doing a lot. Coffee shop, skate shop and show, skate park, social club. This is the update on what we're doing with the social club and the battle that we're about to engage in. Now, I'm getting support from the state politicians. They agree my argument's correct. And it's just going to take a year or longer to get the law to reflect that. My argument right now is, sure, okay. Then why are you discriminating against us in our skill-based card game, but not the other skill-based card games? I'd like to hear an answer. I got a lot of other arguments in this regard too, but those are the simple ones. And I talked off the ear of many politicians and they were like, I think you're right. And we'll see what happens. I think the lottery commission and the casinos are going to say, no way, we own this game because it's a sport owned by casinos. I believe outright that Hold'em specifically and games like it, these poker games, they're sport, not chance. It's not like you roll a die. You take the best poker player in the world, and you take the best football player in the world, the best skateboarder in the world. You take a scientist and a guy who gambles 5,000 hours per week, and you play craps, and it is random who wins. You take the best poker player in the world and an astronaut, and you put them at a poker table, and I tell you, the poker pro will win. Period. No question. None. I'll leave it there. Long ramble. But I'm really excited about this, and it's a fight we're engaging in. And if you're someone who's a poker enthusiast or a fan, I know there's a lot of you because you guys come up to me when I'm at the poker rooms. You say, what up? We're probably going to need some help. But I don't see this as an attack on West Virginia. I see the people of West Virginia actually agree with me. And now we go through the legal process by which we challenge this and then legalize within a limited capacity the right to have a social poker club. I don't want widespread gambling everywhere where people are playing dice in the streets. I think gambling should be regulated to a certain extent. Or I shouldn't say that. I actually don't. But I think it's fine that they do regulate it to a certain extent, like craps and stuff, to these facilities, not having them be just everything everywhere. But I don't see poker as a chance game. I see it as a skill game, as evidenced by I got a bankroll app tracking how much I've been making. And it's funny because, when I talk about playing poker, I get these people in the comments say, Tim's got a gambling problem. It ain't gambling, bro. I'll show you my bankroll. I'm up. In fact, I think this weekend I averaged something like $700 per hour. Like, it was ridiculous. To be fair, I had a good streak, played right, but I am most proud of, and I might trigger the guy I played against, I'm most proud of I bluffed a guy out of a couple $100. It wasn't because either of us had got lucky or not. It was because I could tell based on the way he was sitting, the way he was looking, that he had something good, but he didn't know if it was the best. So what I did was I tried to exploit this by putting on the persona of being the best and bluffing. Tricked him, and he loses. Now you can say because there's wagering money, it was gambling, but I wasn't gambling. I did not gamble. It did not matter what cards I had beneath my hand. What mattered was that my skills in determining what he felt and what he thought were better. And I was able to exploit that and win a game. Simply put, in poker, you can be dealt the worst cards and win the biggest pots if you know how to play. That's not gambling. I suppose the issue is it's a game where you wager money for cash in real time. But while the money wagering may be higher, I don't understand how someone could enter any other tournament based on skill, wagering tons of money. I mean, there are contests where it's like $1,000 entry fee for a physical sporting event, and you're hoping that, say in skateboarding, it's like the entry fee is $1,000 for a top level event, and you're like, I hope they include this obstacle. So I'm so good at. Oh no, I didn't. You can only apply your skills the way you can apply your skills. I understand there's a slight difference, but I stand on my argument. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.